And joining us now, Congressman Jim Jordan. He sits on the House Oversight Committee, and we'll hear FBI Director James Comey testify today. And Congressman, for those of us that aren't lawyers, I don't know whether you are or not, but there's a couple of key questions that factor into all this. My viewpoint was that, you know, there's no way that Director Comey wanted to insert himself in an election year into, you know, completely disqualifying a candidate duly chosen by all of the Democrats in the primary. That he probably thought it wasn't his place. Let the voters decide in November. Is that okay to look and like decide on the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law? Is that do you fault him for doing that if that was his intention?
Well, no one's supposed to be above the law, and
right.
Chairman Chapitz is right. Right now, a lot of Americans are thinking there are two standards. In fact, recent polling shows that 80% of Americans believe this town, Washington, is rigged against them. And the reason they think that is because it is. And we saw an example of that Tuesday when it looks like there's one set of standard, or one standard for we the people, and an entirely different set for the politically connected. So it's appropriate in our form of government, when you have a decision of this magnitude, for the person who made it to come in front of Congress, and we exercise our oversight function and ask him important questions.
I don't think he would say. I don't think he would say that. I don't think he can actually say that I did it just because I didn't want to change the election. He'll probably say that he's the director of the FBI, but he was a prosecutor. Right? So he'll probably say that, in my judgment, I don't know if the FBI director normally should do that. They should just decide on whether a crime was committed. I don't know if that's their place to decide on whether the case can be won or not. Normally, I'd say they'd turn it over to the prosecutors for that.
Right, they turn it over to the Attorney General, and the Attorney General would decide. But we had this special meeting last week where she says, no, I'm gonna go on what the career prosecutors and the FBI, what they recommend, and that obviously is what happened yesterday.
But there are, so in a normal, I think about normal criminal trials, there are times where you know full well someone did something, a murder even, and you don't have enough evidence, and sometimes they decide not to bring the case. Is that, but we know the person's guilty. Is that the case here? There was maybe not enough evidence to do it, but she definitely, in your view, broke the law, broke the statute, and is guilty of a felony?
Who knows, but my guess is there are lots of prosecutors who would look at the same evidence. The evidence that Mr. Comey gave us in his statement, that she sent an email that bore classified markings, that she may have potentially violated statutes, that it was extremely careless. A lot of prosecutors, I think, would look at that and say, you know what, I am going to take that to a grand jury. He decided not to. What we do know is this. Secretary Clinton set up this unique email and server arrangement. She alone controlled it. She had all her work-related, personal information, Clinton Foundation information, and we now know classified information on that server. They got caught with this arrangement. When it was discovered, her legal team said, we're going to take the 60,000 emails and we're going to determine which ones we keep and which ones the government get, which ones Congress gets, which ones we keep to ourselves. They made that determination. And then one last thing, then the ones they kept, according, not Jim Jordan, according to Mr. Comey, they deleted them, and her lawyers
we get it.
Got rid of all forensic.
But
so that provides some context to making this decision as well, and I think he'll get asked about that, those factors as well.
To Joe's point, I worked in Florida for 6 years, which means by default I covered crime, and there were instances, I mean, public defenders complained about it all the time, that they were facing off against the people who made the choice about whether or not they were going to prosecute. And so when you look at prosecutors' records, they have tremendous records. Why? Because they only choose to prosecute the cases that they know they can win. I mean, do you think there's any chance that this is part of the issue here? To have brought her, to have charged her in the middle of a campaign and been unsure about whether or not you're actually going to get a prosecution, get a conviction?
Maybe. I think you've raised a lot of questions. We got a lot of questions, and I know our constituents. A lot of the folks across this country are wanting to know why this was made, and that's why we're having the hearing. And that's why we're going to ask
the people, your constituents, and everybody else around this country is going to get a chance to have their voices heard in November. What is today going to really accomplish, other than to give you all a chance to look at the director of the FBI face to face, go on national television, and tell him that he was wrong?
when 80% of the population thinks that their capital is rigged against them, and they see a decision of this magnitude, coupled with what they've already witnessed, the fact that the commissioner of the Internal Revenue Service, with 2 subpoenas, allowed 422 backup tapes to be destroyed, nothing's happened to him, along with the fact that Lois Lerner targeted people for their conservative beliefs, and nothing's happened to her. When they see all this, they expect the legislative branch to hold the executive branch accountable and to at least get some answers. So that's why we're doing it. Obviously, the American people, we the people, have the ultimate say on Election Day, and that'll factor into how people vote. That's their call. But our job is to get answers to those important questions.
All right. But, Congressman, 27 months, what are you going to do about that? I mean, the CGI, this email stuff is chump change. I mean, we're not going to find out what went on at the CGI.
The Clinton Global Initiative.
Yeah, and selling State Department influence and, I mean, 27 months? Do you have any recourse there to say that's unacceptable?
Well, there's an investigation going on there, too. The governor of Virginia is being investigated in connection with the Clinton Foundation and some of the Clinton dealings. So, look, that's an ongoing investigation as well. Maybe when there's some kind of decision, we'll be able to ask questions there. But right now, we're going to ask the director of the FBI the questions that he talked about in his statement on Tuesday.
All right. Well, I'm excited about the testimony today and watching. Anyway, we appreciate it. See you.
Thank you.
Thanks.